Hello and welcome to CTV News across Canada for Friday, January 23rd. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
This is where Rob lives.
There's my bunk up there.
A tiny home in the middle of the woods in a park in Guelph's south side.
These last 2 years have been just hell.
Rob says he has a brain injury and mental health struggles. He lost his housing. Living with family did not work, nor did staying in shelters.
I've slept in apartment building stairwells where I've been kicked out.
He says he lived in a tent in the same park during the summer, but as the cold weather set in, his son-in-law tried to help, taking matters into his own hands.
Is it legal to build a house in the woods? No, because we don't own the land, we don't have permits. We understand this. But is it right to put a man out in the middle of winter with no help, no resources, and no options? It's not right.
Jesse Damry, who works in construction, made this tiny home.
It's kind of a work in progress.
There's a bed, a wood stove and a flue, and space for Rob's belongings. Rob goes to Jesse's home to use the washroom, shower, and do laundry. Jesse says the tiny home is built to code.
I looked into everything that we needed to make sure this was safe, both for the community and for Robert himself.
Surrounded by nature, but Rob says he feels more safe here than he did in a shelter or on the street.
Yeah, I trust the wild coyote pack more than some of the people.
But Jesse says a bylaw officer with a police officer and mental health worker visited the site and told Rob it would need to be torn down.
Upon tearing the structure down, he's allowed to put a tent in place in the exact same spot and live in a tent in the middle of the winter in minus 30.
We reached out to the City of Guelph, who say in a statement the city is responsible for enforcing municipal bylaws, including Guelph's public space use bylaw, as well as other legislation related to shelters and buildings to support community safety. Unfortunately, we cannot speak to specific sites or investigations as a matter of confidentiality. For now, the structure still stands.
To try and, have a little dignity and pride and stay safe, and that's all I'm trying to do is survive.
Jesse says this was the last resort, but he hopes Rob won't have to live here for too long.
Right now we're taking it day by day, but this is our option we have now, and tomorrow will be a new day. Maybe a new option will come up.
Both Rob and Jesse hope that by speaking up, they will shed light on the challenges faced by those struggling and unhoused.
This issue is only getting worse. You can only sweep so many things under the carpet until it starts spilling out, and it's spilling out.
Rob saying a little empathy goes a long way.
When someone's drowning, you don't need anchors thrown at you.
Rob has been living in the tiny home for about 5 weeks now. Overall, he says he hasn't been bothered by other people passing through the park. And for now, it remains where he calls home.
Just after midnight, London fire crews were met with heavy smoke and fire at this vacant building next door to the London Portuguese bakery on Hamilton Road.
There was big fire flames coming out of the roof, so we don't feel safe.
It's the latest in a string of fires caused by homeless people taking shelter inside vacant buildings, trying to stay warm. The former Kent brewery was set ablaze earlier this month when a pair of fires ripped through the building, followed by another fire last week inside a vacant bank on Dundas Street.
These vacant building fires are very dangerous for our crews, not to mention the individuals that may be inside the vacant building, for us to do a primary and secondary search to make sure they're safe.
Businesses in the area say this isn't the first time, and they are fed up with the ongoing problem.
They are sheltering it, they are cold, they keep setting up fire to stay warm, and now we are at risk of burning down also, right? Like the fire last night.
It affects our business, it affects our lives with the smell, with the unsecure people come in and out.
Business owners say they want long-term solutions, not short-term fixes.
The city should be addressed because, when it's time to pay taxes, I pay taxes as well, right? It's not for free to be here. And Hamilton Road has been great to me since I came to Canada 35 years ago. I love it here, so I like to keep it here until it's time for me to retire.
On Monday, a city council committee will consider letters from councillors regarding current cold weather guidelines, including expanding homeless shelter capacity and opening additional warming centers. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Nova Scotia's fishery minister says new summary offences and stiffer fines will help the province crack down on illegal fishing activity.
And hopefully it's enough of a dollar value that deters illegal activity.
The province has added more than 30 new summary offences under the Fisheries and Coastal Resources Act that'll see higher fines issued for fraud and falsifying records, with repeat offenders paying double the initial fine that jumps from $5,000 to $10,000. And those caught buying or processing illegally caught seafood would face fines of $25,000 for first offense and double if caught again. Those in the industry have been calling for stricter rules and increased enforcement around the wharves and at seafood processing facilities.
Because it's one thing to actually hire the inspectors and to put them on the wharves to do the work, and it's the second thing to actually give them the tools to do that job efficiently.
We don't want to see anyone charged or apprehended, but hopefully that people will stay in line and adhere to these conservation measures.
In November, the province announced the creation of a dedicated fisheries enforcement unit. Those in the industry see these new summary offences and increased fines as giving officers stronger tools to curb illegal fishing practices and protect the lucrative industry.
It's the lifeblood of Nova Scotia. It's our #1 industry. So many coastal communities rely on it.
We're going to need to see those inspectors out there. The inspectors are going to actually have to lay charges. Once they lay those charges, then we'll begin to see this actually act as a deterrent.
The province estimates that 30% of lobster landings go unreported, representing roughly $400 million in lost taxable revenue for the province.
So if we could recoup some of that, even some of that $400 million, I think we'd be taking a big step in the right direction.
Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Of the 5 teens charged with this daytime jewelry store smash and grab at Barrie's Georgian Mall last month, 3 have been denied bail. The masked thieves were caught on camera smashing display cases with hammers. Police said pepper spray was used in the robbery that took place days before Christmas, just steps away from where children were having their pictures taken with Santa. Police said all 5 teens were arrested within 2 hours of the robbery. Investigators said a backpack with jewelry was recovered. A 14-year-old taken down inside the mall with help from off-duty police officers, while 4 others aged 14, 15, and 17 from Brampton and Toronto were arrested in Essa Township. Police say they were caught after crashing a stolen car into a ditch. The next day, the 17-year-old charged with fleeing from police was granted bail, while a 14-year-old from Brampton was released 3 days later. In separate hearings this month, the 3 remaining teens were all denied bail despite efforts by loved ones to get them out of custody. The jewelry store was closed for more than a week during the busiest time of year as crews cleaned up the mess. The robbery was the 3rd such smash and grab targeting a Georgian Mall jewelry store in 16 months. The identities of all 5 of the accused are protected by the Youth Criminal Justice Act. The allegations against them have not been tested in court. Mike Arsledy, CTV News, Bradford.
Nathalie Allard was just 54 years old when she got the news that changed her life forever. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah, a big shock, scared, everything.
Since then, she says she stopped going to work, she can no longer drive, and she finds herself relying more and more on the support of her husband, Marc-André Lefebvre.
We didn't know what to do, how to deal with this thing.
Now at 56, Allard is facing something new, hope. She's among the first in Canada to receive a new treatment designed to slow the progression of Alzheimer's. It's called lecanemab, and it was finally approved by Health Canada in October of last year. The journey was a long time coming.
If you see a V when I do the V, it's because of victory.
And it's also because of 2 years of waiting.
For the next 18 months, Allard will have to get regular infusions. It could slow cognitive decline by 30% in patients diagnosed early. Dr. Paolo Vitali is a neurologist.
They have prolonged autonomy for 1 year compared to the non-treated individual.
According to national data, in Canada, dementia is expected to more than double over the next 20 years. This therapy costs around $30,000, and access is limited as not all provinces provide full coverage.
Our population is getting older and older. We are expecting more prevalence of Alzheimer's disease in our population.
For the couple, this new treatment represents something invaluable: time.
Maybe we will do a fantastic trip one day. Maybe we will see a super sunset. Maybe we will be witness to the birth of our grandchildren.
And not a moment taken for granted. Sweet Arasi, CTV News.
A stressful time for workers as federal departments continue to issue layoff notices to public service workers. More than 1,000 public servants at Health Canada being informed their jobs may be eliminated.
We're starting to see the rubber hit the road here, and what we warned about.
The federal government promised to cut 28,000 jobs over the next 4 years. Health Canada has not said how many jobs will be eliminated, but the union warns job cuts will hurt everyday Canadians.
There's going to be very significant impacts for Canadians, just like the very deep public service cuts that we saw in the 1990s. But those set up some of the worst crises that we're still in, like our healthcare crises.
Notices have been issued at more than a dozen other departments, including Statistics Canada, Shared Services Canada, Global Affairs, Public Services and Procurement Canada, Innovation Science and Economic Development. At Health Canada, the workforce has already seen a reduction in workers over the past 2 years, dropping from more than 10,000 to 9,628. An Ottawa Liberal MP said this week the government will support affected workers.
We know that the National Capital Region has at least 40% of public servants that will be affected, and we are very aware of the anxiety that comes for the employer that is the federal employer, which is the #1 employer in the city.
And notices are going to continue going out over the next few days. We know that the Department of Global Affairs says it's going to continue to notify employees until January 31st.
Oh, light. Oh my God, I got light.
As Joyce Taylor walks in.
Oh, what a difference in here. Oh my God.
She admires her new windows.
I'm happy. At least I've got light.
The 84-year-old lived in her one-bedroom apartment for nearly a month and a half without windows, despite repeatedly reporting the issue. The holes had been boarded up, an unfinished job that had started at the end of November.
Nobody was listening. I'm just an old woman. They just thought they could do what they want.
A squirrel even got into her apartment over the holidays, taken out by staff, and still no one fixed them.
I was scared of getting sick because I was so cold. It was like being in a dungeon. I hated to come home. To be home, I wanted to be out with her, but it was so cold and snowing that I couldn't get out.
Taylor says calls to management and the mayor's office went unanswered. But within days of our story running last week, work restarted to install her new windows, and she was put up in a hotel, meals provided for the duration.
I can't say how much I thank kids. I thank everybody for what they've done. The words go, I know it's only words, but the heart, I feel it. I'm just so thankful.
Hello. The city's mayor also paid Taylor a visit today.
I'm so happy with him. Yeah. We got something done.
It's excellent.
Bringing her flowers after all she's been through.
I think it's just unacceptable, outrageous. I can't imagine that board, plexiglass, plastic for all of those long days. We shouldn't have been able to find out from the media, but one way or another, we got it fixed. And that company, will, since they got into receivership, will never use them again.
So nice to see people see that buildings again.
Taylor can now enjoy the comforts of home.
They put my husband's picture. I was so happy.
Happy to be home after a trying time and once again able to see the view. The TCHC has told us that they have done a thorough review of all of the steps that led to the situation that Taylor was in, and they are implementing some changes because of that. They say that things like an end-of-year closeout process to identify any outstanding or temporary work that's being done. They're going to regularly review logs of any temporary work happening in tenant units, and they're looking to improve information sharing between the TCHC and Toronto Seniors Housing. Reporting live, I'm Alison Hurst.
In his final address to the jury, Crown Attorney Michael Cristall alleges 33-year-old Tristan Ayres and another woman, Lizzie Martinez, were huddled by a small fire in an alleyway trying to keep their hands warm in the early hours of December 17th, 2022. He told the jury Nakaji and Trevor Goulet were looking for a smoke and were directed to Ayres. The men told Martinez to leave. Then Goulet attacked Ayres with a stick. The stick broke, and that's when the Crown believes Nakaji felt they weren't winning the fight, pulling out a knife, stabbing Ayres in the back, severing an artery. Ayres went down, his feet flailed, and Nakaji stabbed him in the legs. Cristall says Ayres then crawled over a guardrail into the Worthington Street West's LCBO parking lot, and Ayres bled to death. Graphic photos of Ayres' body showed before the court highlighted 5 stab wounds on Ayres' leg and back. In a police interrogation video played for the jury, Nakaji, who had consumed fentanyl the day of his arrest, confessed to an investigator he wanted to make sure Goulet would not lose the fight and that he didn't know how many times he stabbed Ayres. Nakaji's lawyer, Lori Galway, argued he was just tagging along and there was no plan to assault or kill Ayres. She played security camera footage of the parking lot, which was partially blocked by a vehicle. It showed Nakaji standing by and watching Goulet attack Ayres. In it, Goulet raised his arm in an overhanded motion. This is when the defense claims Goulet actually stabbed Ayres in the back. Galway argues Nakaji only stabbed Ayres in the legs to defend Goulet. Goulet was convicted of manslaughter in 2024 after pleading guilty. In his charge to the jury, Superior Court Justice Greg Ellis reminded them that Goulet's verdict should not be considered when rendering a verdict. He reminded them to be judges of the facts and consider the evidence impartially. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Everybody was pretty much told that this was not going to be a cost to us.
Confusion is swirling over who pays what for the new green bin program mandated by the province. Some Essex County residents say they feel blindsided by the price tag.
It's just very frustrating.
A petition created Wednesday night is calling for an end to what it describes as a $189 green bin charge, and it gained traction quickly. Some asking if residents can opt out.
And that $189 is because it's for 15 months. They're billing for October, November, and December. And there's still people to this day that don't even have the bins and they're being charged for it.
The petition is focused on Essex County municipalities where the cost of the green bin program is being billed to residents. In Windsor, councillors say that's not the case.
In Essex County, the green bin, the organics program, it's being shown as like a separate line item. In Windsor, it's not. Windsor has always funded waste collection through the municipal tax levy. That's where we fund almost everything, right?
The City of Windsor issued a media release Thursday saying residents will not face a new or additional charge on their 2026 property tax bills to pay for the program, a program that's intended to extend the life of the region's landfill.
Now, obviously, we don't like mandates from Queen's Park or from Ottawa, but between complying now or paying, dramatically more later, I think this approach is definitely more responsible. It's more affordable for residents over the long term here.
City officials also note that while the program is delivered through the Essex-Windsor Solid Waste Authority, each municipality decides how it funds its share.
But in the county, we really did want to be transparent and say, this is how much the green bin is costing, instead of just lumping it in everybody's taxes.
Essex Mayor Sherry Bondi says costs for county municipalities were outlined in a report to County Council in December and reiterates that the green bin program and its price can vary from one municipality to another.
The $189 is a high bill because it captures the 2025 program as well. So it captures October, November, December of 2025. Going forward, we've been told it'll be around $150. Which is still This is a significant amount of money for people in the community.
Essex Mayor Sherry Bondi has now put forward a notice of motion to County Council seeking further clarification on green bin costs. That discussion is expected to take place at the February 4th meeting.
This is an event that we can't stop. We can't hold the rain back when it's coming. And I think we need help from the province to take care of our people at this time.
2 massive rainstorms, 2 Septembers in a row. That's what's causing financial woes for the city of Steinbach and its residents. These were the streets of Steinbach on September 11th last year, when 135 millimeters of rain brought flooding in less than 4 hours. Steinbach Mayor Earl Funk says the damage estimates were staggering when they came in.
Overland flooding is non-insurable, and there was over $1.6 million of overland flooding claims that were put forward. So I feel that was very significant.
A community impact assessment report prepared by the city found the total estimated damages incurred by city property owners from the 2025 flood was $4 million. On top of this, Funk says residents are feeling a compound effect from September flooding in 2024. A disaster financial assistance claim was filed to the province then and was denied as well. Funk is seeking answers and clarity on Thursday as to why Steinbach has been denied again.
What are the thresholds? If we're not meeting the thresholds, I can't just sit back and just take another no, given the fact that this happened 2 years in a row.
In a statement to CTV News, a spokesperson from the province says decisions for granting a DFA claim are complex. The province says the event did not cause widespread damage or disruption to essential assets. Mayor Funk says otherwise.
What do you say to all the people that have flooded 2 years in a row, who can't get insurance?
Steinbach and Area Animal Rescue was one of many flooded businesses hit with financial hardship. A flooded basement ruined their pet supplies, and a hefty $25,000 insurance deductible has hurt the nonprofit 2 years in a row.
For us to write a check for $25,000 times 2 within a 12-month period that we don't budget for is a big hardship.
We reached out for a second time to the province to seek clarity on what they see as the financial thresholds needed for a DFA claim. We have not heard back yet at this time. According to the Insurance Bureau of Canada, insured damages caused by severe weather last year topped $2.4 billion across Canada.
The northern community came together for a somber anniversary. 10 years later, the pain of the La Loche school shooting still lingers, especially for families who continue to live with the loss.
I mean, I can still recall that day very vividly, and I think about it quite often. Where I was, getting the phone call.
Jeffrey Klein's mother was among those injured in the 2016 shooting. She survived but suffered serious injuries. His father was the vice principal at the La Loche school during the shooting. Both parents died about 3 years ago.
The last couple of years since mom and dad have been gone, it's for sure been tougher. And now that life's kind of slowed down, we start to think of it more and more.
Community members gathered Thursday at the Roman Catholic Church in La Loche for a 10-year day of remembrance, honoring the victims and supporting one another. The event was hosted by the Dene High School and School Division. The former interim mayor at the time of the shooting, Kevin Janvier, says he's amazed how resilient the community has been, admitting he thought it would be decades before they moved on from the tragedy.
Today, seeing those residents and the kids going through those stores each day, each and every day at Dene High School uplifts the people in La Loche.
The shooting claimed the lives of 4 people and shook the entire province, sparking conversations around mental health and healing in the north.
It's a time to reflect on what was the tragic loss of 4 individuals, not just from La Loche, but from our province and 4 Canadians.
Klein is a teacher today and hopes one of the things that comes out of this tragedy is better support for those involved in these types of events, like compassion training for victims and families, so others don't have to suffer through the aftermath like his family. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.